voters primarily decide on, they use as a decision-making tool, a criterion or criteria to decide who are they going to vote for based on two general principles. One, self-interest. The other criterion, benevolent interest. And often they intertwine. Oftentimes there's both. They simultaneously. Self-interest and benevolent interests are met with the same, share the same criteria. So now we're looking at this issue of releasing of tax returns of Trump, and I've also heard people complaining that Bernie Sanders hasn't released his tax returns. Now I'm wondering, well, how does that fit in with these two criteria? And I don't see how it does to any significant degree. I mean, it's like this politician's tax return is like the voter will be thinking to themselves, it's not my tax return. Why should I care what their tax return is? I'm concerned about my own income, my own earnings. That's the self-interest side, and I think it's a stretch to think about, like in terms of the benevolent interest. And by benevolent interest, I mean the voter's going to hope that the politician they're going to vote for is going to do the right thing and do the good thing for the constituents and for the country and for the world at large. And in terms of self-interest, of course, it's the voters thinking, oh, well, I want the politician to do something that's going to help me, say, economically. It doesn't have to be economic. It could be in terms of freedom, making sure they want the politician to vote in such a way that the freedoms that the constituent wants to do some activity, they don't want the politician to restrict that freedom. For instance, like a good example maybe would be the example of raw milk, where there's been a lot of debate in that controversial issue about whether or not people should be allowed to buy raw milk. The people, and that can be like an instance of where both criteria are the same, self-interest and benevolent interest, whereby someone who wants to both have the freedom to buy raw milk, and they also believe everyone should have that freedom as well. So they have this. So they think that's the case where both of those criteria they both meet the same criteria, both self-interest and benevolent interest. But tax returns really don't fit in very much into the two criteria. But the thing is, what I see happening, I think, is it's sort of confusion amongst the political wonks, the people that are real enthusiastic into politics, and they treat it like some kind of a game or a sport, where they seem to have developed this mindset where they think that that politics is just like a game show, and where the points are won or lost for the contestant based on how they do in the game show. So in this case, for instance, Trump, because he hasn't released his tax returns, and I think I just recently read a headline saying he's never going to release his tax returns. And so now these people are political wonks are saying, like, woohoo, we win, the Democrats anyways. And so like we win, so as though there's like assuming that there's going to be ramifications down the road in terms of the election. But they're just like forgetting that this is not a game show. It's not a sport. It's not a game. People are voting based on for particular reasons. They vote for a candidate for particular reasons, not because how they would win on this this imaginary political game show of and if there's not a reason why they should really care, reason, if they can't come up with a big, important reason, either self-interest or benevolent interest, as to why they should not vote for a particular candidate just because that candidate has not released their tax returns, then it's not really going to factor into their voting decision, I don't think. And so I think the Democrats, they should stop focusing on that almost entirely. Rather, they should start focusing on other matters that people are interested in, such as, for instance, infrastructure. Thereby, that would be an example of voters they can see where both self-interest and benevolent interest would meet. Because if there's like a massive infrastructure project, then that would be presumably a lot more jobs that would come in. And also they think voters would like to think, well, that's what the country needs too. Also, it'd be good for the country, for the nation to rebuild its aging infrastructure. And so it would be both the self-interest and benevolent interest to focus on something like infrastructure. And also another thing to focus on, I believe, would be the ending the endless wars, the senseless military imperialism around the globe. For instance, especially in the case of the Yemen issue, where the U.S. has continued to, under the Trump administration, continued to support the Saudi coalition attack on the people of Yemen. And now, so just recently, the House and Senate passed a resolution to utilize the War Powers Act to end the support of the war on Yemen. But I think it's expected that Trump will veto that. Now, I think there would be a strong sense among even many that would perhaps voted for Trump in the past, who may not like that in terms of, on the benevolent interest side, they could say, wait a second. So that if Trump is vetoing that war powers resolution that would get us out of Yemen, that's bad. So then that means Trump is supporting the continued onslaught of the people of Yemen who provide no threat to the United States. There's no justification for it. It's wrong. I think most people would see it as wrong. And so that needs to be highlighted. And then we could, the candidate that's against Trump would say, hey, I'm going to pull the troops out of the Yemen area, and stop the support of the Saudi coalition genocide on the people of Yemen. That would be something that I think could sway many of those swing votes onto the side of whoever is running against Trump. So those are the sort of things that we should be focusing on. We should not be focusing on tax returns or the lack of the release of them. People do not care. As a general rule, I do not believe. That's the main point I wanted to bring across in this short video essay. I hope you found it educational and informative. Thanks for watching.